Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman by heading over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hello everyone!
Hello!
Another episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
It's the show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I am your other co-host, David Bell, and we have a guest. Say hello.
And now you.
Hello. Hi.
Oh,
It's Katy.
it's
It
Katy.
is! It is Katy Stoll.
Wait, did I do it
This
wrong?
is
No, you did it
you did it
perfectly.
perfectly.
Okay, good.
It's supposed to be
that-
weird and confusing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I realized that we talked a little bit about how the show was go, but we skipped right over the intro. So I was like, I'll just wait to speak until it seems appropriate.
No, you did it perfectly. No, Dave and I
Thank you.
100% forget the intro to every show until right when we're doing it.
I get it.
It is a mess every time.
Yeah.
And that's our signature. That's our signature move.
Yeah, I
Our
love
signature
it.
mess.
I think that is the plan.
Yeah. Katy, how are you? Welcome to the show. First time.
First
Yeah.
time.
First time guest. Historic.
Thrilled to be here. We've tried for so long, especially during this pandemic. Too much to get into. I'm thrilled to finally be. I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty well, all things considered.
Right on.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. Soren Bowie came on our show. We just recorded
Name
it,
drop.
and he said, "I know," but he said, it's funny how he says I'm doing pretty well, all things, but we always have to say, you know, considering, and I just immediately did it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, yeah, that's the reflex, because obviously it's been awful and could be awful.
Oh, yeah.
And in so many ways. So that's the reality. But you know what? I'm feeling pretty good today. My mom's in town. Love that.
Oh, nice.
We're
Oh,
having a
cool.
little girls' week. She's hiding in the bedroom. She asked if she hear be my laugh track, and I was like, I don't think so.
I mean, if she has any hot takes on the trailers today, by all means.
Yeah.
Invite her in. But yeah, we're having a nice time, making my house look cute, hanging out, playing.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah,
delightful.
that sounds terrific. Yeah.
I'm missing a tooth.
What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, knock that off.
The dentist cut off the top of my tooth and he's put a crown in.
Why?
A temporary crown, and then it fell out. So that's my news. That's Dave news.
I really need to see a
I
picture
wanted to share
of
with
this.
everybody.
Yeah.
You don't want to see a picture of my. All right. So it turned out that my back tooth was cracked, cracked wide open. So they're doing a crown, and I was miserable. And then I got this like old man denture cream, and now I can't feel a fucking thing.
Well,
it's great.
That's something. Wait, so you were
Yeah.
miserable even when you had the thing on it before it fell off?
Yeah, it sucked. It was like gross, and it like scraped against my gums.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get it off. I was like a dog with like a cast, you know, like
Yeah.
it was.
Yes.
Dog with a cone on.
Like you keep licking it.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
tongue
exactly.
keeps going there, and then it kind of hurts.
And it dislodged, and it came right out, and I was happy again because it felt better that way.
Well.
But the dentist says I need to have it put back in.
Boo.
So, yeah.
Wait, so
That's where I'm at.
the temporary crown before they make the real one?
Yeah, they're making the real one, apparently. It's a whole thing.
Oh, I mean, I had my first root canal end of last year, and that sucked. So I commiserate. I understand. All of it makes me squeamish. I don't like them in
yeah.
there. Get out of there. Get your hands out of my mouth.
I
That's
don't
not
mind
where
the-
hands go.
And I like start to I start to hyperventilate sometimes with them poking around.
Really?
Not too bad, but like, you know, it's not my favorite. So I'm sorry that you're going through that.
That's fair. Tom, how are your teeth?
Who can say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been to the
a very
dentist.
specific person can say. but
I have
yeah.
not been to the dentist since I moved to California.
Yeah.
So
You
who
It
knows?
sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
At this point, you don't want to like overturn that rock. You know, you
Yeah.
don't want to get the news.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
Your honesty is brave, and thank you for it.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt brave. It felt brave to say. I was like, indeed, it's my courage. I'm right up there with.
It's expensive. It's inconvenient. They're easy to forget about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just little teeth, little face bones. What do
Falls
I
out,
care?
you get a new one, right?
Yeah, they make plastic ones. What do I care? It's not like my arm falls off.
Says the girl that's
Right.
like, there's a reason why I ended up having a root canal. You know,
Oh yeah, no.
the person that hates the dentist and is like, fuck it. Well,
I assume that the next time I go to the dentist and open my mouth, it's just going to be a kaleidoscope of terrors.
yeah, don't do it.
Well, this is the time post-pandemic. They're very calm and patient. They're like, it's okay, everything's all right, because they like. I'm pretty sure everybody who visits is visiting in some sort of shame.
Right?
now.
Is it like fangled jawed mutant
Yeah,
going
exactly.
to the
They've seen it all.
dentist? Yeah, let's start
you
naming
wanna-
producers. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start naming producers. We have a new one. I'm not so sure about this name. They assure me it's a 1-900 hot dog reference. Special thanks to Children Love the Meat Millie.
Woo!
Yeah.
It sounds
Are we-
accurate. It sounds like
All
the
right,
truth.
They're like, it's a 1-900 hot dog reference. It's like, yeah, that checks out. Big thanks to Grumblebee. Thank you very much. Thank you to Doc Garby. Doc with a K. That's important. Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid. Solid. Thank you. Thank you to Del Griffith, the shower curtain fella.
Woo.
Thank you to Lef. Thank you to Seismic Charge Noise. Wow. Thank you to Jake. Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcano Coniosis Jones. Always a pleasure. Thank you to the baby from Eraserhead. Thank you to Chiz Lily Tits. Thank you to These 7 Bees.
Woo!
Thank you to Breezy Ruizy. Thank you very much.
It's just an assault. Okay, let me jump in here. Thank you to Davey Francis for the revenge. Thank you to MVB. Thank you to Chester's Prophet. Thank you
Thank
to
you.
Definitely Not Guillermo del Toro.
Of course.
Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows.
It's true.
Thank you to Bob Grenville.
Thank
Thank you to Steven.
Steven.
Really went for broke there, Steven. Thank you to Down Home Chicken.
Thank you.
Thank you to Han Toomey, the Confused Cyborg.
Thank you.
Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you.
Thank you to Happy Ed 209.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tom and Dave, our good writers. Follow them at Collider and Some More News.
Yeah.
Woo! Thank you to Tiger Doors Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Beautiful.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh, that's the end of the producers.
Well,
Well,
is it though?
For now.
For now.
Right. We have
okay.
a lot.
We have a lot. We have a lot, and we love them all.
Indeed, yeah.
So let's get into trailers. This first one is for House of Gucci.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
This looks good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm into this.
I'm into this.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, I pulled it up and I was like, oh, I don't know. And the music, I can't think of what it was right then, but the first few shots, I felt my heart quick. And I my first thought was, oh yeah, I'm a target audience for this, aren't I? Very into it. Love those actors. Love what I saw.
Yeah, it has a hell of a cast and
Hell of a
also,
cast.
I'm
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm a huge nerd for true crime movies.
Yes.
Yeah. It's also just a really good trailer. Like, this was actually, I wasn't, the actual concept of it, I wasn't that excited for. And then the trailer just, like, got me pumped for it. That said, there was a tweet I shared a while ago about Jared Leto in this, where it's just like, in the 70s, you just hire a guy that looks like this.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
it's weird that we're doing this. And we've done it before.
Right.
And it's weird that we're like, a balding person, a balding man, it's just like, oh, well, that has to be prosthetics.
Right.
Those
It's
don't
like-
exist.
Yeah.
It's like Colin Farrell in the new Batman movie where they just made him look like Richard Kind.
Such a good point. There's a lot of actors out there.
Right, and there's definitely a dude that looks more like Paolo Gucci. We didn't need to, like, okay, well, obviously we're going to hire this handsome skeleton and put 40 pounds of prosthetics on him.
Representation for Gucci lookalikes, you know? This was their chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's me. Yeah, it feels like I get why they did it because it's like, oh, Jared Leto, that'll get more people to see it. But, like, it's got to be a real bummer for, like, certain actors. It reminds me of Snoke in Star Wars where they got Andy Serkis, but if you look at the set photos, they just have like a dude who looks like Snoke there for reference. And it's like, well, why didn't you just use him?
Right.
And like put more makeup on him? And it's so weird, the decisions they make.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks sexy, fun, interesting, true crime. Great cast.
Yeah.
Ticks,
What is
ticks
the?
my boxes.
Someone explain to me what the true crime is. I don't
Okay,
actually
so
know what this is about.
Lady Gaga's character basically plots or orchestrates the murder for hire of Adam Driver's character.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Also,
Yeah.
yeah, it does sound fun. Also, Adam Driver, man, this is like every year is the year of Adam Driver.
I
right
know.
now.
I was thinking something along those lines. It's like he's everywhere,
Yeah.
and
still,
I love it.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about this the other day where it's like his career is still kind of new enough that he doesn't have too many credits to his name, but like you look at everything he's done and it's like, man, he really hasn't made like a bad choice yet. Like,
He is navigating his career excellent.
yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody wants him. They look at him and they're like, look at that weird motherfucker. We got to get him in our movie.
He's weird but sexy somehow.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, that fella's
got
very sexual in a bizarre sort of way. Let's get him in this movie.
Wait, that was incredible. That was incredible.
In my universe, that's how Ridley Scott sounds.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were doing
of
what was
course.
it, Family Guy or something?
Yeah. That was Peter Griffin adjacent for sure.
Yes.
And Ridley Scott.
And
And
Ridley
Ridley
Scott.
Scott.
Yeah, Peter Griffin is actually an impersonation of Ridley Scott.
Wow.
Yeah. England's Ridley Scott.
Did not know that.
All right.
Yeah, let's move on.
Next trailer. This is the trailer for
Oh,
Venom.
shit.
Let there be carnage. So
I loved this first trash ass movie so much, and this sequel looks like more of the glorious trash ass same. So I'm so excited for it.
directed by Andy Serkis.
I know.
Katie,
Oh.
had you seen the first Venom?
Nope. I don't know anything about Venom.
It's not. Go on, Tom.
It's-
I like your representation of the movie more than mine.
It's a real schlocky superhero movie that you would have expected to come out in like the early 2000s, but the kind of the premise is that Tom Hardy plays this guy who has this alien sharing his body with him that will come out and make
Okay.
the
Yeah.
Venom costume and makes them invincible or whatever. But he's constantly arguing with this alien inside of his head. So
Yes.
Tom
Okay.
Hardy makes it's like an hour and a half of Tom Hardy making fascinating decisions as an actor.
Yeah.
And I bet that's really fun to watch, knowing that that's his struggle. I
Yes.
kind of got
Yeah.
that from the trailer. Curious question. Do you have any insight into the moment when Woody Harrelson bites his hand and then eventually transforms? Now, did he need some of that venom to transform himself?
I feel like that's how they're going to explain it in the film.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
So in that case,
Yeah.
I think that this is an effective trailer to someone who has not seen the first movie to kind of maybe get the gist of some of the, you know what I mean?
yeah. There's
And Woody Harrelson, similar to Adam Driver, popping up a lot in another one of the trailers we're talking about.
Yeah, Woody's been showing up in everything lately.
Yeah.
yeah. I want to note that this the writing credits of this is Kelly Marcel, who did the screenplay for 50 Shades of Grey. Also wrote the first Venom. That's not what interests me. The only other writing credit is a story by for Tom Hardy.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Oh, he's expanding.
Yeah, and I love that it's Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and Woody Harrelson, three amazing actors doing this schlock, and like something about that makes me think this is going to be fucking amazing. They're going to ramp up. Like, the first Venom, I didn't care for it that much, but it was definitely fun. And, like, it does a lot of the things superhero movies have to do, which is spend a lot of its time setting it up. You know what I mean? Being like, here's the origin, here's where they came from. And so this is, I think, going to be fun because they don't have to do any of that, right?
Yeah, you just get Woody Harrelson in a strange wig biting his hand, and then we're off to the races.
I wish he had the fucking wig from the first one.
He had an incredible wig in the first one, but he has an equally impressive set of wigs in this film, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I don't know. Like you said, Tom, it's early 2000s superhero, and there's something like nostalgic about that now. So, yeah, I'm like strangely excited for this thing.
I just want it to be entertaining garbage, just like the first one was.
It has nothing to lose.
And it really doesn't. And that's like the best possible position a superhero sequel can be in, is that it has absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Any other thoughts before we move on?
No?
I'm good.
All right. Cinderella. Let's talk about Cinderella.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about some.
This one is interesting to me because it's a live-action adaptation of Cinderella that's coming out in the middle of all of these live-action remakes of the Disney animated fairy tale movies, but this is not at all connected to Disney.
Well, there's been like 10 live-action Cinderellas,
There's been a few, yeah. There was even the Disney
like,
one like 6 years ago.
Yeah. I'm like strangely rooting for this because it's at least different. Looking.
Yeah.
Like it's got like a interesting cast, and I don't know, it's clearly deviating from the classic tale. And it's like, look, if we're gonna make 10 of these, fuck it. You might as well make like make it weird.
They've inserted these musical elements. It's, slightly. Here is my I've had a couple thoughts. First, I was like, all right, if I was a kid, I would be anyway. I could get the appeal. And then I had a couple things like, I don't know, in this world where there's like a lot of diversity amongst the population, I don't like that the royal family is all white still. Is that weird for me? I don't know.
I know what you're saying.
I
where
was like, you're trying to shake up this story in some way, and yet your core cast is still white, and I was disappointed. Yeah,
I mean, I get what you're saying. Where it's like, if you're gonna do it differently, you might as well go for it.
Yeah,
right?
The story doesn't need to be held by the same, Anyway, that was my thought when I was watching it, but then I also thought that it looks like a fun movie for a kid,
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, it's clearly not for me.
Right.
But it's like, I'm never gonna watch this. So like, in that regard, I'm like, yeah, I hope it's good. I hope it's fun. I hope it's interesting.
It seems perfectly fine. Yeah, I like Billy Porter.
It's no Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time.
That's true.
No.
The few things are, except specifically that film.
Yeah.
You can't get that fucking movie anywhere. It's awesome. If you ever get a chance to catch Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time, it's a very good addition to the Cinderella.
That she gets twisted in time?
It's a fucking time travel.
Does
what
the
happens?
prince go
It's on
with her?
Disney Plus.
Oh.
Well, no, it all right. I won't spend too much time on this. The one of the I think the evil stepmother steals the fairy godmother's wand and uses it to go back in time to the first Cinderella and implant one of her daughters instead of Cinderella.
Oh.
So she it's like Back to the Future rules where like suddenly Cinderella is just working at the castle, and the prince is married to one of her stepsisters instead. And what happens is that instead, it's actually a cool idea, is they give both Cinderella and the prince more agency. Because if you remember the first one, he's just like, the shoe fits. I love you.
Yeah.
And so in this version, they slowly get to know each other. And they naturally form a relationship.
And she becomes his mistress because he's a prince and he can't get divorced from his bitch wife.
Kinda, but no, they actually do a redemption arc for the stepsister too, which I thought was really cool, that they make the stepsister actually a human being. Like, it's a little more complex than the first Cinderella.
Interesting.
It also has a couple killer action scenes where she's like riding on the top of a pumpkin carriage and has to jump off of it and shit.
This sounds really rad.
It's pretty rad. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish that was the trailer we just watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of that.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right. This is American Sausage Standoff.
Yes.
I mean, sure. I think the premise is fun. It's about a town, I guess, in the early 20th century where hamburgers are their thing, and they have these German rapscallions who are like, no, sausage is the thing. So now they're in a standoff.
Yeah.
I thought it looked fun, but it's really all in the execution. But I thought it looked fun. I was like, I would see it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's got Dan Doherty from Deadwood as the head of the town.
That's where he's from. It
Yep.
took me till you just said it right now.
It's got the guy from from Snatch
Yes.
and Trainspotting.
And Trainspotting, yeah.
Yeah. And Alien versus Predator.
It's
Who
mostly
directed
Alien
this?
versus Predator. I don't know. That's
What
a good
was-
question.
What's the question?
Who directed it?
Oh, it's looks like some guy. Ulrich Thompson.
I've heard that name. I don't know
Let's
who he
see.
is.
It looks like he's actually an actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's directed only a couple things. Yeah, this is I put it on here because I wasn't sure if this is going to be a good movie or not, but it's definitely like a unique movie that I don't think people were talking about.
Yeah. I have less confidence in it, thinking like, oh, he hasn't directed very many movies. But I thought it was a good trailer.
Yeah, I it can really go either way. It's like a little quirky. It's got a little of that like that shoot 'em up type vibe, but
If it was like Friday night and I was picking between a couple movies and one of them was a documentary that I wasn't that stoked about and the other one was this and then the other one was the Cinderella, I would definitely choose this. You know?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's got kind of this. Its tone. It's like it has the throwback setting, but its tone's very modern. Like all the jokes are real modern. A lot of rapid fire dialogue and looks like maybe some slapstick. I don't know. It looks like it could almost have been a Coen Brothers movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's not. So.
But it's not. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see. It's got a lot of like familiar faces in it. So I don't know. Yeah, people should definitely check out the trailer.
Yeah, watch the trailer.
I don't know when it's coming out or anything like that. All right, let's talk about Kate.
Love the name.
Yeah, good name. Good name.
Solid name. Strong name.
Yeah, as I put in the notes, it is weird that they keep doing this where they have like Salt and Lucy.
Yeah.
And they're all these women-driven action films. They all seem to have this weird pattern to them. But, I mean, this still looks good. What do you guys think?
I think she looks like a badass action star.
Yep.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah.
And I like her. And you know what? People have compared me to her, and my name's Katy. So this feels like this movie was made for me to go see. If I'm being just really basic.
No, it looks pretty rad. Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is great, and she looks awesome in this.
She does. She looks
yeah.
so good at it. It's not easy. Not everybody can pull that off.
Oh, yeah.
We got more Woody Harrelson in this one.
Yes!
He plays the mentor character.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's like the plot of Snatch. She has 24 hours before she dies, and she has to kill her murderer.
That's the plot of Snatch?
Not Snatch. Sorry, Crank. Look,
okay.
All these
similar names.
Similar
names. I don't think it's not quite the same, but you get the similarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's this director hasn't done much.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked him up. They did The Huntsman Winter War, which. Well, here's the thing about a movie like that. There's no telling if that means they're a good director, because that's the sequel to the Snow White, the like gritty Snow White.
And
Snow White and
that's a new
Huntsman.
director doing something that's probably one of their, there's a lot of different people chiming in. I don't know. I sometimes feel that way for new directors coming in on franchises like that.
Oh, for sure. It's
Right.
it's like Alien 3 with David Fincher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like what? Yeah, it absolutely. It was his first movie. This director is the fucking Huntsman sequel. That's got to be a weird
That is a
nightmare.
brutal task. I don't.
Yeah,
But also, like, you can't say
and
no to that job if you're a
No,
new director.
yeah.
You're like,
Right.
I guess.
and then he gets to make this.
Yeah.
From the writer of Extraction, by the way, which is, I believe, Isn't that... No, this is a different Extraction. Which one's... Tom, is that the one where he fights children? Extraction?
That's it. That's one of the Extractions, yeah.
Yeah, this is the other one with Bruce Willis.
Oh, dear.
And Gina Carano. So not as good.
All right, well, we'll see. I like Mary, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, this movie looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, and she looks great in it. And, yeah, like, again, she could kind of single-handedly carry this.
Yeah.
If she needed to.
But she got Woody
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's got Woody.
Yeah, he's right there, waiting in the wings.
right there.
Yeah. Good for her. Wasn't she in Gemini Man?
She was, and also gave, you got the sense that's like, wow, she's really being underutilized. Because in a couple of action scenes she gets, you're like, hey, they should have let her do more in this film.
Yeah, she kind of needs to be a superstar already with
right?
this stuff.
She will be.
Yeah. All right. Next trailer is Together.
Yeah, just in
This is,
case you were worried that we weren't going to get any more sappy dramedies about the pandemic, here's another one.
I just am not ready for any of it. Like, that's my first thought when I see things. It's like, we're still in it, guys.
Right? We're still fucking in it.
We're learning from it still. I'm entering into a whole different phase. I haven't had time to reflect. So nothing you're showing me is going to be that meaningful, and it's not going to have a profound impact. Does that make sense? Like, there's one thing when you're watching, like, I've been watching couples therapy, and it is fascinating to switch when shooting. And, it's a reality show, but, like, okay,
right.
We're talking about surviving the pandemic as we're in it through this lens of real life stories and stuff. And there's something interesting about that. But anything written like this is going to be trite.
100%.
You can't have arrived anywhere interesting yet.
Exactly. It's the same issue I have with movies like Sully or any movie that's like based on a real event that comes out like 2 years after the real event. It's like, we do not know what the context of this is yet.
Exactly.
Like we haven't had this, like this, we haven't processed this yet.
Yeah. Sully, what if Sully turns out to be a fucking monster?
Right?
Like, we don't know.
Or like, we just don't, like with that example, we just don't know how significant this event is going to actually be in the long run. So it's just like, we're just watching the SNL version of it. So I get the same vibe from this movie.
Yeah, it's them making a buck in the moment and being like, do you think this movie is going to matter in 30 years? And it's like, who cares?
Yep.
Some more, okay, yeah. So, yeah, this was clearly, like, hammered out in the first week of the pandemic, like the screenplay. It's also the most indie fucking trailer. Like, the music is like they're Rolodexing every single indie.
Yeah, and they're talking directly to the camera. It's a shame because it's James McAvoy and Sharon Horgan who are both great. Yeah. Yeah,
it's the director of Billy Elliot, which, again, very indie. I want to piss you guys off right now. I read the cast. James McAvoy and Sharon Horgan play the characters titled as he and she.
Get the fuck out of my... I'm deleting this from the doc as we look at it. Delete it.
It's
hard pass.
Such a bummer.
Hard pass.
Such a fucking bummer.
Kiss my ass movie.
This is...
Making this twee bullshit about a pandemic we're still in the middle of. How dare you?
Because you were bored.
Yeah.
You could. Yeah. I love that we're all on the same page here.
Also, it has like such a shitty, boring thing to say. Like, the premise of the movie is a married couple who don't like each other, and now they're stuck together during the pandemic, and they come to find out they actually do like each other. It's... Get out of my face.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't feel healthy either, of a message. I don't know.
Katie said trite earlier, and that's the perfect word.
It's
And this isn't a hit against anybody working on it, because it seems like everybody who's worked on it is talented. It's
I'm sure you really wanted to, but you made a bad choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Waste my time.
All right.
Yeah, waste my goddamn time with this horse shit.
Final trailer. This is for Star Trek Prodigy. Not about the band, which is unfortunate.
Man, what if?
Can you imagine?
What if?
This is a Nickelodeon Star Trek TV show.
It's an
our friend Noel you guys know Noelle. She's on a different Star Trek animated show.
She's on Below Decks, right?
Below Decks.
Or Lower Decks.
Or Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Lower Decks.
Which is, I believe, the name of a TNG episode. I haven't actually watched
It's
that
Lower
one.
Decks is also just Starship Icarus.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah, I haven't watched that at all. This, I think, is actually the first Star Trek thing, which is weirdly enough for kids, that I look at. I'm like, this is what Star Trek should be.
Really? Because this is still extremely. This is literally the plot of the Force Awakens. Like, this is still very Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess here's I wrote my little thing here in the notes. One, it takes place after Voyager, which I think is good, because I'm sick of Star Trek existing like in the past.
Right, they keep making prequels, and it so that increasingly doesn't make sense. To the point, like in the current Star Trek series, which takes place before the original series, the Klingons look totally different, and it's like, how is that working?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, can we advance the story? Why did we stop at Voyager for some weird reason? I've also been watching a lot of Deep Space Nine, and the thing about Deep Space Nine that's interesting is it takes place on a starship or on a starbase that doesn't move, and it's like a Western. They do it very much like a Western town. And I always thought, like, why does every Star Trek always go back to they're on a ship exploring space when there's like other things to do? This is that, but I appreciate that it's not Starfleet, that it's apparently just like a bunch of scrappy teens. As silly as that is, at least it's a little different. Mm-hmm. At least it's like, oh, this isn't Starfleet. These are like random people in this. Like, there's no reason Star Trek needs to follow Starfleet officers every time. So I appreciated that. And I actually appreciated like the optimism or this kind of the silliness in it, mainly because it's a kids thing. But I appreciated it not taking itself really seriously.
Right.
But you're right, Tom. It still still stinks of J.J. Abrams.
It is still
for
Star
sure.
Wars, but I do agree about the optimism. That's now that we're awash in the J.J. Abrams version of Star Trek, which is like everything, the movies and the current TV shows are extremely gritty and serious and just Star Wars basically now. Like Star Trek and Next Gen, they're all really optimistic shows at their core. Like they're about like a hopeful view of the future, which is really, really rare in science fiction.
Yeah. And like somewhere down the line, an executive was told, like, they really like TNG, and people are kind of mad about, that you like the Discovery or whatever. Like it got to an executive and they're like, okay, let's do Picard and make it gritty and brooding. And it's like, no, you idiots. Like, you missed the point. So like, I hope this does really well, and I hope it is what it seems like it is.
I have never seen it.
Oh, no.
So I need to do that. I know that I would love it. But it's daunting because there's so much of it.
Yeah.
So, I literally have nothing to add to this conversation in terms of the franchise, but it looked good. Literally, like the animation, I thought.
All right, so if you start watching Star Trek, if you start with the original series or TNG, at least I can say this confident about TNG, you're going to be shocked about how not progressive certain episodes are,
sure.
Considering how many people talk it up and were raised by it. It's definitely dated, but if you get through that first season, you'll see the appeal.
Do you suggest that I start with TNG?
I do. Tom, you might have a different opinion.
You could do
on
either. Star Trek, for being, I don't know, it's a shorter, it's a smaller undertaking because I think there's only like 80 episodes.
Okay.
The original series.
Yeah, the
right.
original series. Yeah, and it's it also has its certain issues with being dated, but it's from.
Fine.
Yeah, it's from the 60s. So, but it is in other ways. It's like weird, pretty progressive for a show on the 60s.
I could take it for what it's the positive, the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also they're just real meditative. It's the Star Trek and Next Gen are closer to like Twilight Zone, where it's like the very much using the genre as a way to make a social and political commentary that won't get them thrown in prison or whatever at the time.
There's certain things that I'd say every series fails at. One being humor. Their attempts at humor are usually pretty
But that's
cringeworthy.
kind of funny in its own, you know?
Right, yeah, the
Yeah.
intended humor usually falls flat. There's an ocean of unintentional comedy in both series.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, the way they deal with romance is a real bummer sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. It's almost as if it was written by a bunch of dudes in the 90s.
Dudes.
Yeah. So there are blind spots, but it is it's sort of like the spirit of it. It's the sadness of the new stuff is like with the sensibilities we have now. It would be really cool to see another Star Trek that actually filled that optimism slot and like thought past in the timeline past Voyager, which was Voyager's the last series that like chronologically took place, I believe, the last in the timeline, and they haven't really like gone past that for some reason.
Because nobody likes it, so they don't want to connect it to Voyager.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they keep going back to the original series in TNG. Anyway, we've spent enough time on Star Trek.
No, we haven't. All right.
You have a whole other show with Michael.
All right, let's get into news stories. But first, we have some patrons to name.
Yeah.
Starting with Kool-Aid Molotov says, "Fill me with the blood of your billionaires and drink deep, my brothers." Thank you. Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle. Thank you to Cody Johnston's Time Machine Noise. Thank you to Pete Vorpagel. Thank you to Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory. Sure. Thank you to subscribe to Jason Pargin's Substack. Thank you to the Midnight Patrons. The Midnight Patron. What patrons at midnight?
There you go.
Gotta be clear.
Let me jump
Gotta
in
be
here.
clear about
Yeah,
that.
thank you to Exploding Runes. Thank you to Andrew.
Thank you.
Andrew How. Thank you to
Thank
Vincent
you.
with a Y. Thank you to
Thank you.
Rev MD. Thank you to
Thank you.
Dr. DNA.
Thank
you to
you.
Lauren Gucci. Probably
Thank
pretty
you.
excited about the House of Gucci trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you to Bootler Bootlesson.
Thank you.
All right, so news stories.
So we have... Everybody's talking about this story. Nicholas Hoult to star in a Universal monster film focused on Dracula's henchmen.
Sure.
No one could shut up about it.
Yeah. People are talking about it left and right. It's all
been
over
on
Twitter.
on everyone's lips this
It's called
past week.
Renfield.
Yeah. So he's the guy Tom Waits plays in the Coppola version.
Right. I mean, I guess. I think definitely Universal Studios, they have like a whole room of people trying to think up things to do with their Universal monsters.
Yeah,
and
this is very much since the Invisible Man worked. They've shifted their focus from that god awful Dark Universe project into just kind of just like a shotgun blast of, okay, let's just get a bunch of people, a bunch of filmmakers who have ideas for different monster movies we could do, and let's just put a couple of them into production and see what happens.
I appreciate that because it means they're like, you know what? Fuck cinematic universes. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
We have the one. That's all I can handle. I don't need more than that.
Can you imagine if these did really well and we'd have to be keeping track of the
of where like the
Universal
creature from the
monster.
Black
I
Lagoon.
literally can't imagine that.
I refuse to. That is
Yeah.
violence, and I don't accept it.
I don't have room for that in my brain.
Yeah.
What a terrible
It's,
world that would be, where we have to keep track of where the Wolfman is.
Yeah. It is it was written by Robert Kirkman and is the director of the Tomorrow War doing it. So, you know.
Okay,
There's
the director of a bad movie from the writer of a bad comic. Although Invincible is pretty good. That if you haven't seen that animated series on Amazon, it's based on a Robert Kirkman comic, and it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It starts out like you think it's going to be. It starts out looking like it's going to be like another lesser version of The Boys, like a superhero genre subversion, and then it turns into a straightforward superhero story, which is weirdly refreshing.
Cool.
It's also Ryan Ridley did the screenplay. Ryan Ridley has done Rick and Morty and Community episodes.
All right.
So this could be fucking anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be Nicholas Holt creeping around looking like Tom Waits.
I am excited about that because Nicholas Holt has really, over the past couple of years, learned how to, because he's kind of like a unconventionally handsome leading man, so he's steering into playing like weird goblins, and I love that about him.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say he's your typical handsome leading man, and I think he had the Colin Farrell thing where he's like, no, I can do other weird shit. And now he's starting to do that.
He's been everywhere. That show, what's the name of that show?
The Great.
He was incredible.
He's so good on The Great. My gosh.
Mwah, you know?
Yeah. Real pure chef's kiss. He's incredible.
That said, I probably won't watch this. I'll see the trailer.
Yeah. If he's doing like a real appealing, like just bug shit Jared Leto thing, like Jared Leto in The Little Things, where he's walking like Frankenstein for no conceivable reason.
Right. Yeah, if he goes over the top with this,
that's the only direction to go with a movie about Renfield, right? Because who cares? Also,
like, have like Dracula be played by like Nicolas Cage. Like, really, just let's go out of control with this premise. All right, next news story. I simply wrote the fuck Matt Damon.
Yes, the fuck Matt Damon.
What?
I don't even. You want to explain it?
Matt Damon in an interview, he pulled a Liam Neeson where he just like decided to tell everybody that he used the F slur as in a slur to refer to LGBTQ people, and that his daughter changed him and was like, don't do that, and taught him not to. And he thought that was like a real feel-good story. But it's one of those things. It's like
it was like a few years ago,
like,
or like
it was recently.
A few months
he said
ago.
Until a few years ago. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I guess good for you, but also you were what? Like
way
it's
past
that
acceptable
where it's like
time frame for. It never was it acceptable, but you know, we've all known better for at least my entire life.
Right? Like
Maybe
if he
not,
was
but
like I used it as a if he was like I used it in my 20s and I feel bad about that, it'd be like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. I mean, I didn't, but I get that. But no, he's like, I used it until a couple months ago.
Yeah, and then it's like
unbelievable. But then he walked it back.
Yes, and then he said, I have never used it.
So what
in
is
my
it,
personal
buddy?
life. Yeah, and it was like, but that was the story.
Yeah, so why did you tell this story then, you maniac?
Meanwhile, the producers of Stillwater are like, Matt,
why did you even bring this story up?
He's so dumb. Also, I mean, I think maybe Matt Damon's not such a good guy. There's also all this stuff about diversity with that Project Greenlight. Is that what it was called?
That was. That happened a while ago. That was a real bummer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're getting heat from Amanda Knox, right? Because of Stillwater, where she's like, they didn't clear this with me.
They didn't.
No. Like she called them out and was like, no one said, hey, we're making this movie.
That's unacceptable.
Is it? I didn't realize it was literally about her.
It's based off of her, I think. I don't know if they actually said it. I think that's how they're legally getting around it. Mm-hmm. But she clearly watched this trailer and was like, what the fuck?
That's shady.
Yeah. So they're already getting enough heat. And like on top of that, I don't know how many people wanted to watch this movie to begin with.
I mean, it's getting good reviews, but...
I've heard people have said that it's good.
Yeah, so it's just this weird PR mess. I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of it.
It's just
other than
it's a dude.
The fuck Matt Damon.
Well, he grew up as like a shit kicking dude in Boston or whatever.
Yeah.
He's been extremely wealthy for a quarter century, so he's completely divorced from how people interact, I suppose. So it's like I mean, I'm just in this bizarre bubble of like thinking that telling people this story is like uplifting because he's just so lost touch with people. I don't know.
Right.
It's like,
again, it's Liam Neeson.
Right. It's like, why would you tell this story?
I get why, because he's trying to show like people grow.
Yes.
It's just the detail of
that it's so recent.
It's like fucking
it's like, what?
It's so bizarre.
We all have known better for a very long time.
Yeah. It's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They're two bros from Boston who somehow, like, I feel like they're constantly in over their heads when it comes to every given moment. And I don't really sympathize with them.
That is visible on Ben Affleck's face 24 hours a day.
All these shots of him with J-Lo, even, he's like, what happened? How did I get here?
He looks so exhausted and like on the verge of panic in every photo that's taken of him. Man. So
I don't know, man.
It's fucking rich white dudes just saying shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's what comes down
it's
to.
the embodiment of that meme. What you should have said was nothing.
Yes.
But I guess it's one of those things where it's like, part of me is like, I guess good to know.
Sure.
This about Matt Damon. You didn't have to tell me, but now that I know, I can know, like, not a great guy.
Yeah.
Apparently. But it's, I don't know, man. Let's talk about this Jeopardy host negotiations. A guy named Mike Richards, the Variety put out a thing saying he's in advanced negotiations to become the permanent host of Jeopardy. Twitter got very mad because everybody was like, well, LeVar Burton. I got mad because I wanted Alex Schmidt to get it.
We all want Alex Schmidt to get it.
Yeah. But at first I felt bad for this guy because I was like, oh, this poor guy. Then I learned that he's like an executive for Jeopardy who then had like several harassment and discrimination things against him on other shows. So it's like, fuck this guy.
It's like it's followed him from like two different networks that apparently just didn't care about it.
What a wild move, though. He's not even an on-camera person.
Yeah. I guess he did host a couple things. It's just it's such perfect like mediocrity from corporate executives who are out of touch.
Yeah.
Where like so they were like, I know, everybody loves Mike around the office. Let's make him the host.
Like, and it's like he had a couple of seasons of some obscure, irrelevant game show about geek culture he did 10 years ago. Let's bring him in here. I think what I have heard is that he got hired on as an executive producer with the understanding that he was going to become the new host, and the guest hosting stuff was just, purely performative to make Jeopardy relevant to people.
Right.
Like, that's what I've heard.
They wanted to.
Why would they give him the job, though?
No idea.
You know what?
Especially with this horrible history of abuse and harassment.
That's still the missing. I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that
I don't understand.
Oh,
yeah. But the guest host stuff, it reminds me of a show we all remember, which was Fox's Secrets of Magic Revealed in the 90s, hosted by Mitch Pileggi from The X-Files. They did this whole thing with a mystery magician where they were like, who is it? Who's this mystery magician? And he was going to unmask himself in the last episode, and he did, and he was a nobody. Like, no one knew who he was. And he's like, it is I. And everybody was like, who are you? And that's what this feels like, where they're like, who's going to be the new host? Is it this guy? Is it LeVar Burton? No, it's this guy that we already had waiting.
Yep.
And no one's heard of him.
Just really cynical from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Every aspect of this is just like cynical and gross.
Yeah. Give us what America wants, which is Alex Schmidt as the new host of Jeopardy.
Absolutely. Barring that, LeVar Burton.
Yeah. If Alex
is unavailable.
Yeah. LeVar is definitely available.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. LeVar is down to host. He's been sitting here like, hey, everybody.
A delight.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's LeVar Burton.
It's ridiculous.
They have this very clear, obvious option that everybody wants.
Alex Schmidt.
Yes. Alex Schmidt. Or LeVar Burton. And they're just like, nope,
they don't
this
want
guy.
good ratings. They don't want good ratings.
I don't know.
Or they're brilliant, and this is like wrestling, where this guy's
right. Have LeVar come out and hit him with a chair.
Exactly, and start hosting.
Now that would be
amazing. They're not going to do that, are they?
No, probably
not. They're not going to have LeVar Burton hit him with a chair.
No.
But
That's
you got to have hope.
He's not going to run out in a Degeneration X t-shirt, probably. Probably. I can't say with 100% certainty.
We'll see. I'll watch the first episode, and then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Yeah. All right. I guess that's it for news stories.
Yeah.
We got some more patrons.
Let's
to
name
thank.
some more producers.
All right. Hey, thanks to Tux. Thank you, Tux. Thank you to Ricky Cilantro. Thank you very much. Thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you. Thank you to Space McNulty.
Woo.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Oh Great, It's That Guy. Thank you to Nolan Mayton. Thank you to Vaccinated Man Andrew McGuire.
Woo.
Congratulations. Thank you to AJ. Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Gross.
I repeat, Tip Drizzle.
All right, let me swoop in here. Thank you to Burrito Mouth. Thank you to Mrs. Voidus. Thank you to the
Thank
ghost
you.
of Dave Thomas. Thank you to
Thank
Aaron
you.
Bursar. Thank you to
Thank
David
you.
Knife Boot Hinson, MBA,
Knife
CPA. Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire. Thank you to
Thank you.
Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's Confusingly Large Dick Chill. Thank you to
you.
Vaccinated Jay. And
Thank
thank you to
you.
Pie Guy.
Pie Guy. Pie Guy.
Right. Dave.
Whew. What?
David.
What?
David.
What? What?
Do you have
What?
a film, a movie, a motion picture that deserves more hype?
Oh, I do. Tom.
Good. I thought that you might. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
What fortune?
I totes do. This is this is called Mosquito State.
It sure is.
Yeah. This is coming out August 26th, streaming on Shudder. It's looks real fucking weird, man. This takes place in 2007. It's about a Wall Street analyst. This guy who's uses math to like tell what the next big hot thing is going to be. He's Christian Bale in The Big Short.
Sure.
Right? He's like a math whiz, and he sees 10 steps ahead. He goes to a company party, and he meets a woman, and he meets a mosquito. And I guess I think he takes the mosquito home, and he starts noticing patterns in his computer models while swarms of mosquitoes start breeding and taking over his apartment.
What?
And also he notices patterns in the mosquitoes. And it's about someone just like, I don't know, losing their mind in their apartment. The trailer says it's a mix of what? Cronenberg and Kafka? It's like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it sounds
And
horrifying.
this is coming out in a month. Yeah, kind of, right? It looks fascinating though. What'd you guys think?
I'll be honest, I didn't scroll down far enough, so this is the first time seeing it.
That's okay.
I messed up. I didn't know there was another page.
I know.
It's okay.
Yeah, the hype movie sneaks in there and trips you up.
I mean, I think it works because then you get to genuinely react to it.
So I
it
am
works.
not big on horror personally. That creeped me out just describing it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be seeing.
Right. I'm not even sure if it's a horror,
Or
to be
whatever.
honest.
Maybe it's not.
Well,
Isn't Shudder horror?
It is,
Yes,
yeah.
I think it's one of those movies where like they looked at it and they're like, I don't know, I guess horror? Like,
I mean, that sounds horrific to me. I mean, bugs,
Yeah.
flying things. I don't like them. I myself don't have a problem with mosquitoes, but I don't love them.
No, indeed, who does?
yeah.
It looks
Yeah, deep thoughts.
I don't know. It looks interesting. I'm not sure about the hook. It seems like he's finding patterns and everything, so it seems like it might be a little obvious in terms of like a movie that's about like searching for meaning in an isolated existence.
Right. You think it's going to be like Pie or something?
Yeah,
where
maybe.
he drills his head.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was hoping it would be more of like Willard by way of mosquitoes instead of rats, but it doesn't look like that's the case. It does not look like he's commanding these mosquitoes.
No. I
Yeah,
mean,
it looks like he's
can
more
say?
losing his mind. So I don't know. It's probably going to be real surreal.
yeah, I kind of fall squarely on the I don't know team. I don't know, where I'm like, this looks fucking weird, but yeah, who can say? I guess
It takes place in 2007, though, so I hope there's a lot of topical discussion about the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
That feels like that's the most random production. What is that?
What's happening there? What are we doing?
There's nothing. There's no strong decision.
what, the 2007 is that like before, like Is it like a tie into Occupy Wall Street or something like that? I
Probably
assumed
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably just doing a similar thing in The Big Short, where it's like on the edge of the 2008 collapse.
Yes.
Right. I also, in movies that deserve more hype news, I just want to point out that the movie Mandibles is out.
I saw, yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. It has Katie, if you're not familiar with Mandibles, it's a director who he did the movie Rubber, which was about a sentient tire that exploded people's brains. Yeah. This is about two friends who discover a giant fly in the trunk of a stolen car, and they domesticate the giant fly, I believe, to perform robberies, if I remember correctly. It has an audience score of 100% and a critic score of 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it in a previous episode. I just want to update people that they can watch it anytime at this point.
Yep.
What's it called again?
Mandibles.
Mandibles.
All right.
It's another flying bug movie.
I know.
think that's what reminded me of it.
I know. My first instinct was like, I don't know, flying bugs, but you can't
This is just
argue
one.
with just one. That's manageable. You can't argue with a score like that. You just can't.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So yeah, everybody check out Mandibles, but also check out the trailer for Mosquito State.
Yeah.
That'll be out end of the month.
Cool.
Very cool.
That's
Oh, geez.
think that's
Guys,
it.
we
Is that
did
it?
it. That's a sode. We've done it.
we did a whole
We did it.
episode. Well, this was a delight. What a fun,
Oh,
a fun
yeah.
time we've had.
Indeed. Katie, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure.
What do you want to tell people about? What do you got going on? What do you want to plug?
yeah. You have an agenda.
Yeah.
You have like
You want me? I'm not gonna.
anything you want to tell
I'm not gonna
people?
talk about my breakup again. Done that. No. I can tell people where to go. You go to, if I haven't done this a million times, Some More News. I work with Dave over at Some More News, and I host the podcast Even More News with Cody Johnston, as well as the podcast Worst Year Ever, also with Cody Johnston and Robert Evans over on iHeart. So find me at all of those places.
Do
That's
it.
Do those things.
Indeed,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do those
do it.
immediately. Do you have a manifesto you'd like to read? Or is that...
I don't. Should I?
You'll get one eventually. They come. You don't want to force a manifesto. They'll happen
Yeah.
naturally.
Boy, I feel like that's got to be the nation of maybe of maybe I think I have to at least be in my 40s before I'm comfortable enough to have a manifesto. But that's my own imposter.
No, yeah, anybody can have a manifesto.
you just have to
if
try-
they believe in themselves.
you
Just
have to
never
kn-
thought about it like that.
You just can't force it. You let the manifesto write itself.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to tell people about our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. If you go on there, you can find exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, and Star Trek The Next Futurama. We watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. I'm going to be pushing for the second Twilight movie tonight, so
Yeah.
get ready for
Will
that.
probably happen.
Oh, yeah.
We have a store, but it moved. So just go to gameplayunemployed.com, right?
Yeah! You did it.
Woo!
Good job.
has all our links and shit.
GameFullyUnemployed.com. It does. It at least it should.
It better if it knows what's good for it.
Yeah. It has one link to our Teespring, which is I just looked it up, gamefully-unemployed.creator.spring.com, which is why we just say go to gamefullyunemployed.com. It's easier.
Yeah, way easier. All right.
Yeah, or just like Google us. I don't know. Oh, leave us a review on the wherever you do reviews. We never say that enough.
That's true, yeah.
On the podcast stuff.
Give us your sweet, sweet reviews. Yeah.
Yeah. We love it.
All right. I think that's enough. I think we can all leave. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.